Yo, what's going on, people? What's going on? Welcome in, welcome in. Sorry, I meet some M&Ms. I don't want to be crunching in y'all ears. Sorry about that. I thought I had my buffering issue fixed, but I see I don't. Give me 1 second to see if I can get this fixed. All right, let's see if that fixes it. Okay, we're not fixed. This is really, this is confusing. I don't know why this isn't fixed. Mrs. TNT, what's going on? How you doing? Welcome in. I'm sorry for the buffering. I got to figure that part out. I gotta figure that part out. I don't know why I'm buffering because when I did a few, I've been wanting to go live for a while, right? And so what I would do, because I gotta kind of set my microphone up a little bit different, got a different camera system, set my office up a little bit different. Kind of like over the last year. That's one of the things I did, right? Because I use my office a lot more for work now, as opposed to just kind of sitting out on my couch. Um, yeah. I know who this is, Mrs. TNT. I know this, Nicole. Yeah. It's only one Mrs. TNT. Tell him I said what's up too. I ain't seen him on in a minute. I really don't be up too late. Well, sometimes I do, but I haven't seen him on TNT on in a minute, man. Last time I seen him on though was probably about a month ago. It was actually a midday stream. I think he was talking about the war. So I did join that for a little bit. Um, I didn't chat in there because I probably was working. I'm always working, so I didn't chat, but I was in there listening in. But I haven't seen a late night stream from holding this after hours. Where's the after hours at? Maybe I'm just not getting the alerts on my phone too, because I don't get a lot of alerts from EFP Media either. When I see it, when I see the alert come through, um, I jump on, but I haven't gotten an alert from her. I usually get alert from her like once or twice a week. TNT's I ain't got alert for her in a minute. You know how YouTube does, man. I don't know the algorithm thing. You know how YouTube does. They're kind of weird. So he's on every weekend. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I said, I never ever get an alert. So I have to search up his videos and see what's going on. But tell him I said hello. I hope. I think last time we spoke, I know that you was saying you was pregnant. So I'm not stepping on no toes here because we spoke. I know I spoke about it on my stream. I'm assuming that was a year ago, so I know the baby's been born. Right, baby's cooked for 9 months, so I know the baby's been born. How is he or she doing? Good to see y'all. But yeah, what's my title? What's the title to the video? I don't even remember what the title to the video is. Yeah, YouTube do be tripping. Like I said last video, right? I haven't went live in over a year until yesterday. The algorithm was not going to push my video out. Well, I was new anyways, right? I wasn't never making much content, so algorithm's not going to push my video out. But I'm going to talk to the chat as though the chat is full. That's just how I got to do it. But I got to talk like that. 8 months ago, dang, that's crazy. Got a boy. That's what's up, little TNT. Okay, that's what's up. Congrats, y'all. That's good. That's good. Hope all is well. Speaking of this is one of the things I'll touch on first. While talking about my brother TNT. One of the things I said in my video, I think on my title, on my thumbnail was, I said, "Where's Rob been?" Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about too, right? Because I know last time I did a real live a year ago, I was talking about custody. Of course, I won that case. Thank God for that. But yes, I've had full custody of my son since 2019. It's just that she challenges it literally every year. When she's challenging again this year. We're same old. It's the same old show. It's the same old show, different year. I'm not even gonna get too much into it because I don't expect anything to change. The circumstances are all still the same. Her circumstances are the same. My circumstances are the same. Until her circumstances change, I don't foresee anything. Until her circumstances change, I don't foresee the judge doing anything different. He always could, right? I don't know, but I don't foresee him doing anything different. So I don't think she's in a position to have anything changed on our custody order. But yeah, we actually just did mediation this week. You gotta do mediation first before you do before you get custody. So we did mediation this week, of course. I mean, we're okay. We're not at a point where we're beefing right now. We have a cordial relationship. So that's for now. So it's been like that a little while lately. So I'm thankful for that at least, because it works out best for, best for the kid, obviously. So we have a cordial relationship right now. Let's just hope it stays that way. She hasn't been acting too wild. So, and she seems to be trying to be a little bit more honest with herself, I think, and honest about things. But it doesn't stop her from going down and fouling. So, um, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think we get our calendar call, which is when we schedule the custody hearing. What month we in? April. We get our calendar call later on this month. What up, Jay? J Rock. What's good? What's good, J Rock? What's going on, man? Um, we get our calendar call later on this month, and then we'll be doing the actual hearing. I'm assuming in May. I have to assume it's going to be sometime in May or June. I don't know how backed up the courts are here in North Carolina, but sometime between May or June, I assume we'll be getting that hearing in. So I expect the same outcome. You never know what's going to happen. But, God do his thing the way he do his thing, though. So we'll see. But beyond that, I wanted to touch some of the drama first. I'm not going to be specific. I'm just going to acknowledge that I saw it, but I'm not going to be specific because I don't want to be messy and I don't have enough facts to really dig into it. I just know that I've seen issues. It's crazy because I saw issues within the Holiness YouTube circle recently. Within the last couple months, I've seen some of that division. I've been in the background on some of those channels. Again, I don't really chat in them. Usually busy. On top of the fact that any of y'all that saw me in the early days, back when I used to be on the first channel, Brother Tony Harvin's channel, when I used to be on there a lot years ago in the comment section, it really turned into me having. I got along with some people, and some people I didn't get along with because I don't see things the way others see it. Pastor Jennings, everyone knows how I feel about him. I've made my feelings clear about him. He taught me a lot. And I would say he taught me to be confident in the way that I view my faith, right? And I'm forever grateful to him for that because, sorry for crunching in your ear, but he taught me how to be very confident in my faith because my faith was what I believed is what I read. What I read versus what I saw going on in church, what I saw growing up in church, what I saw around people that I regarded very highly in the church community. It seemed different than what I read. And like I always say, I thought maybe I was tripping, but coming across Pastor Jennings showed me that I'm not. Also, guys, I gotta bear with me because this is allergy season and the allergies get to me a lot. So this is allergy season. Y'all gonna have to bear with me. So might be a little bit stuffy. I might have to step off for a time or two to blow my nose. So anyways, I'm just kicking it with y'all for a little bit. I don't know how long I'll be on stream out because I am very hungry, as I always am, and so I'm going to eat soon. But I just wanted to drop in this early evening because I know I said I'd be trying to do a couple more streams this year. Today. Girl, please, I don't take no meds. As much as I can help it, anyways. Medication. I always have so much to talk about because, see, my sister says I don't take any medication. She's correct. Absolutely not. And I think in my thumbnail, I mentioned therapy. Maybe I didn't, but I meant to. If it's not my thumbnail, it's probably in my title where I mentioned therapy. If I get time, I want to touch on that. Therapy culture. Excuse me. I don't condemn therapy culture, but it's something I do want to talk about. It's an interesting topic. It may rub people the wrong way. I'm sure the majority of my chat probably practices therapy and finds it extremely helpful. So I never want to alienate anybody, but I also said coming back to YouTube that I'm going to be as true to myself as I know how to be. I'm going to take it upon myself to be this term that I hate, right? This term that I hate. This phrase that I hate. I'm unapologetically me. I'm unapologetically blah. I'm going to use that to my advantage this time, right? Y'all can call me hypocrite. Y'all know I love that word. My favorite word is hypocrite, right? Y'all can call me a hypocrite for using it to my advantage, but I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to be unapologetically myself. I'm not going to apologize for who I am because YouTube is a hobby for me, right? It's a hobby I hope to do more of because I actually have fun doing it. I have fun talking. I have fun putting my perspective out there. I have fun putting the truth out there. It's just fun to me. I have fun rattling cages too. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm just not going to lie. I don't do things necessarily to rattle cages, but I have fun doing it. And when I say or do certain things, I do know what's going to rattle cages. I don't necessarily do it for that, but I know that's a possible outcome. And I really don't care. It's not really my concern. You know what I mean? So anyways, also guys, like the video. Anybody that drops in, please like the video, put a like on it. That is very helpful, obviously, to the algorithm. Not that YouTube's going to do much for my algorithm right now, but I got to post very, very consistently, and then hopefully they'll kind of start showing it to a wider audience. And I don't care if it brings haters or not. Haters are always good because they boost the engagement, so it's cool. Anyways, I saw I'm gonna try to stay on point. I'm not gonna talk about long, but I saw the issues in the community, right? I really don't know what happened. I haven't went back and watched all these videos to get caught up to know what happened. I just seen certain live streams and I'm like, oh wow. To the brothers in the holiness community, I do hope that you all get it together. I don't pick sides. I hear what some of you guys are talking about, and I agree. There's some people even in my chat that may have spoken to, that I may have spoken to before, that know where I stand at with all this. A lot of y'all know where I stand at just from when I was in those chats. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get along with most of the people in the chat. So most of the people, I can't say I didn't get along. Most of the people didn't get along with me. They didn't like my rhetoric because I have no problem questioning the pastor. In fact, Pastor Jennings teaches that. I think you all know that, right? Anybody that's under Pastor Jennings knows that he teach. Well, I haven't heard him say it in a long time, but he taught questions, right? He taught at question your pastor, right? So I can believe a man is anointed. I can believe that, while at the same time believing that the man can make a mistake and will make mistakes, not just one in his lifetime, not just two in his lifetime. He will make consistent mistakes because he puts his pants on one leg at a time, right? He still has to eat every day unless he's called to fast. He has to eat every day to sustain himself. He has to drink every day to sustain himself. These are facts. And if those things be true, then I'm not going to believe that person's infallible 90% of the time, right? I respect anybody, any anointed, man of God, but it doesn't mean that they're without flaws and that they're not going to, say or do flawful things. I've always been the type that said that, but I was ostracized a lot in those chats for saying it by certain people, by certain groups. I do find it a little odd because those same groups, some of those same people that ostracized me for that, I see are being ostracized now by the holiness community. So I find it's not actually funny, but I find it ironic and a bit funny in some type of odd way, if that makes sense. It's not funny, but y'all get what I'm saying. It's kind of funny. All I can say is I hope y'all guys get it together, man. I hope that everybody in the holiness community learns to practice objectivity because I didn't see a lot of that when I was hanging around the holiness community online. I didn't see a lot of objectivity. And to be honest with you guys, it turned me off. Didn't turn me off of holiness. It just turned me off of congregating with some of the people. Reading some of those comments, listening to some people on live sometimes, and even just the guests that came on the lives. I feel like some of the guys were extremely arrogant, extremely pompous, extremely self-righteous. I even said that to some of the guys when I got on there and in the chat. Some guys were extremely pompous and self-righteous. And so I had to fall back because it's just, it's kind of annoying. And I don't want to be the contrarian in the chat saying things that seem like I'm trying to rile people up and stir people up. It's not my goal. I don't want to distract from the message, but I feel like we shouldn't stray from the message either. And I feel that's what some people don't say. I feel like it seems as though some people were doing that very, very often. So the drama was inevitable. I think it's silly, but I understand it. And I don't know, man. May the Most High bless y'all. Honestly, may the Most High bless y'all, give you guys peace and clarity. Just because you're not a member of First Church doesn't mean that you don't belong to the church. So long as you've been born again and baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, right? And received the Holy Ghost, you are in the church. You've been born again into the church. Now you got to stay in the church, right? We all know you can fall out of the church. You can be put out the church. So you got to stay in the church. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. I think people say, "Oh, so and so fell." Excuse me. So and so left the church. Just because they don't fellowship with you at your particular tabernacle, at your particular building, doesn't mean they left the church. The church is everywhere. We got to stop that. We got to stop those assumptions. I think is extremely unfair. I think it's extremely self-righteous. I think it's extremely ignorant, and it's extremely stupid that when a person stops showing up to the temple, they fell. By whose measure? I don't get it. Like I'm not. I just wanted to touch that. I saw the drama. I hope that you guys all get on one accord, if that be the will of the Most High, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Furthermore, I saw drama in the Hebrew Israelite community. I'm not gonna call anybody specific because I know how they can be sometimes, and they'll go, "Oh, you talked about us without telling us," and I don't even feel like dealing with that level of lousy drama. So I'm not gonna call anybody's name or try to make any reference to people. I am gonna say that Hebrew Israelites are like Christians in a sense that there are different sects. Y'all hear what I'm saying? SECTS, not SEX. SECTS. There are different sects, different denominations, so to say. I'm gonna use the word denomination so I don't sound wrong, but y'all know why I'm using it. I don't need no Hebrew Israelite coming on here telling me there ain't no different denomination. I'm using it as a figure of speech. Let's make sure we understand that. Now that we understand that, there are different denominations of Hebrew Israelites, just like there are of Christians. They don't all believe the exact same thing. And I see another sect has fell out and is now acknowledging that Gentiles too can be saved. Gentiles too shall, I believe they said, I don't want to misquote them, shall enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, I did have a conversation with some Hebrew Israelites a year ago on this channel, in which I was one of the things I was trying to say to them. And to my own fault, I let them do a lot more control in the conversation than I did. And the only reason why I did was because I wanted to be fair. I never want to be those kind of guys like, you're on my channel, so it's my way. But I realized that going forward, after having a conversation with them and going back and watching that conversation, I respect those guys for coming on and talking to me. And they didn't do anything wrong, right? I should have had more control of the conversation so I could get the point out that I was trying to get out. But I did let them stare. I did. Now it's not like I didn't know what was going on. I knew what was going on. I just allowed it because, like I said, I never want to be one of those guys to puff my chest out and be like, "You're on my channel. It's gonna be done my way." And that just ain't me, yo. That's not me. So I like to be as fair as I possibly can. And unfortunately, I let them control the conversation. I wasn't able to get out a lot of what I wanted to get out. But that's me. I'm an accountable person. That's on me. I'm not going to blame anybody else for that. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to pull something up on here, but yeah, man. Where we at? Anyways, yeah, but I won't let that happen again. Not just with them, with anybody, right? When you come to my channel, it's gonna things gonna have to run my way, right? They're gonna have to be the way that I established them to be. So, anyways, all good though. What was I about to say? Yeah. Anyways, I saw some of them have now acknowledged, and they fell out with some of their Hebrew Israelite brothers about salvation being for Gentiles as well. Now, I think they still believe that Gentiles are going to be slaves in heaven. Some of them still believe. When I say heaven, I mean the kingdom of heaven. Y'all know what I mean. I mean New Jerusalem, right? I don't really mean like this heavenly place, right? Maybe I don't mean heaven in the sense that how Christians mean it. I'm talking about New Jerusalem, the one that comes down from the heavens, and is placed on the new earth for all of those who are saved to tabernacle in with the Lord. It says that the Most High is going to be with us, and that His Son Yahushua is going to be our light. So that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, all I'm gonna say is I'm glad those brothers, some of those brothers who acknowledge that Gentiles can be saved. It's funny because I watched them use some of the same scriptures that I attempted to go to, that I attempted to explain, but I watched some brothers use that, and I just found it kind of funny. I'm just sitting back watching stuff, man. That's what I do. I sit back, I watch, I collect data in my head, I study patterns, and I move from there. Anyways, I want to acknowledge that though. I saw the drama in the Hebrew Israelite community, and for you brothers, I hope y'all get on one accord. I hope you guys, if you're genuinely seeking the truth, then I hope that it is only my prayer and desire that the scales will continue to fall off you guys' eyes. And that if there is any flaws or errors in your teachings, that you see them, that you acknowledge them humbly, just like you did with, just like some of you guys did with, can Gentiles be saved and go to the kingdom of heaven? Some of you guys publicly had to change your stance and repent for that. I respect that. I respect that a lot because it takes a real man to repent, especially a man that fancies himself a teacher, to repent publicly in front of everybody, knowing that you're going to lose some of your people when you say, "Hey, I've been teaching you guys wrong for the last year, for the last 2 years, for the last 6 years." You're going to lose some people. You're going, even if you don't, you're going to have your credibility questioned in your community. And so I respect that any guys that's humble enough to do that. So to you brothers that have publicly taken that stance, especially to the ones that were teaching, much respect. I salute you. Keep opening your eyes to the truth, brothers. All right. Off of that, we're gonna cover some Jaden Ivy stuff. Like I said, guys, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on here, on here, but we're gonna cover some Jaden Ivy stuff real quick. We got the Breakfast Club, some of my favorites, right? I say that tongue in cheek, right? I say that tongue in cheek. We got the Breakfast Club spoke on this today because Boosie apparently said something about the Jaden Ivy situation. So we're gonna hear what old Boosie Boo had to say about it. And we're gonna go from there. So I do want to bring up the Breakfast Club. Is my shared screen showing? Yes, my shared screen is showing. Okay, cool. So we're gonna bring up the Breakfast Club. We're gonna see what the Breakfast Club got to say about it. And I kind of want to listen. Like I said, just kind of listen to them and from their perspective. Here's Lauren LaRosa. I have a love hate relationship with her. She really gets on my nerves, but she could be cool sometimes, and she's kind of cute. Just depending on how she has her hair, I guess she's kind of cute sometimes.
His comments. Let's take a listen to his previous comments.
The world can proclaim LGBTQ. They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it, unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How are they to say that, man, this man is crazy?
I gave him donkey of the day for not minding his business. Okay, you got away from the bull.
Okay, speaking of that, Charlamagne gave him donkey of the day yesterday, according to what Lauren said. I did not watch it. I don't watch the Breakfast Club. I see the clips sometimes and just kind of watch. I watch some of the clips just to kind of see what Black culture is thinking, because I know the Breakfast Club, by and large, speaks for Black culture. Again, Black culture can deny that fact, but it is a fact. Even if they don't speak for Black culture, they're very reflective of what Black culture is thinking at the time. Very much so. They're very much race centered and not truth centered. So watching them while watching their clips can be entertaining, but I mainly watch it for informational purposes. Yes, it does annoy the heck out of me when I watch it, but because I can't stand bias, I can't stand hypocrisy. I be lighting them chats up too. I told y'all yesterday, bro. I be a beast in them chats sometimes. I type some things that I wouldn't say out loud. I ain't gonna lie, because my mouth pause has been refined. So I say things in there that I do not regularly practice in my everyday speech. I'm not gonna lie, not all the time, but I do sometimes. Anyways, Charlamagne gave him donkey of the day, and I guess he's now trying to clarify. Well, I gave him donkey of the day for not minding his business. What do you mean not minding his business? Like, this guy's such a cuck, bro. Like, this man's right here, bro. And like I said, y'all please be careful, because as I get into these conversations of critiquing these guys, I do say things. A few. I told you about when I get on, we doing all that, but you can have a few, not a lot, as in like maybe 6 or 7. Ain't that what the kids say now? 6, 7. You can have like 6 or 7 of those. But anyways, yeah, y'all got to forgive me, because here's the thing, right? I don't see the N word as a cuss word. I don't. I see it as derogatory, right? I know the roots of what it came from, so I know it could be derogatory, but I'm not going to lie and be a hypocrite and say I don't use that word, because I do. I do try to be conscious of when I use it. Like I said, I don't say curse words, but I do say nigga. Especially when I'm annoyed, like Charlamagne. I'd be like, yo, this nigga's such a cuck. That's what I would say, right? I'm going to try to tone it down, because I understand that some of my audience is from the holiness, and I don't want to be judged wrong, but at the same time, I mean, judge me how you judge me. It is what it is. But at the same time, I want to be respectful to my audience as much as I can, while still being true to myself. I'm not going to lie about who I am. I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to try to paint a picture of somebody that I'm not, because this is just who I am. Flaws and all. Like I said, I don't curse, but I do have a tendency to say cuck. I have a tendency to call soft guys like Charlamagne pussy niggas. I ain't gonna lie, I do. I have a tendency to say those things. So, but I will try to tone it down for the respect of my audience. Okay, so y'all just please respect me for trying to tone it down, while also just kind of being true to myself. Charlamagne's a little punk though, because you give this man donkey. Charlamagne claims he's a Christian, by the way. Let's be clear. Charlamagne claims he's a Christian. This is why I don't respect so-called Christians, right? This is why I don't respect them. One of the many reasons I don't, because they're hypocrites. I mean, most people are hypocrites, but these guys are really, really hypocrites, and they don't even care. Let's keep going to see what Charlamagne and them had to say about it.
Hey, for not minding his business. Okay, you got away from the bulls for something that you didn't even have to say. What was the point of that?
So Boosie commented on our.
He didn't have to say it, but my man's is practicing free speech, and I don't see the problem with that. Again, it's so lazy to be like, free speech isn't free, or free speech, you have free speech, but you can do it. You get consequences for it. Listen, man, I'm all for equality, as I have to keep on saying. I don't want y'all to clip farm me. I'm all for equality. I am. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not for bullying. I'm not necessarily for supremacy. Now, I will say this caveat when it comes to supremacy, because when I start saying certain ideals that I have, certain people are going to try to pull old clips from me and say, you're a hypocrite because you said that you don't like when women do this, or when the LGBT community does this, or when This other disenfranchised group does that, you know. But now you're advocating for a specific group to do it. When you're correcting any issue, especially when it's a systematic issue, most of the time, if, in fact, all the time, it starts with the overcorrection. It's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's the way it is. The problem is when the overcorrection overstays its welcome, because sometimes when things have went so far right, you gotta like forcefully pull it left, and you gotta aggressively pull it left because it's like we're way too far right now, or we're way too far left where we have to like shove everything right now, so that way we can try to in hopes to get a healthy balance. The problem is the groups that are like oppressed that try to come up are generally not trying to find balance. They say they are, but history shows something different. With the blacks, history shows something different. With the women, history shows something different. With the LGBT community, history shows something different. All these groups I just named would deny it. Most of them would deny it. You might have a couple that are real enough to kind of see what's going on and actually admit it. Like myself, I'm black, but I can admit that what we've done on as a black community, we've tried to even the pendulum, and I respect that because we need to, right? We didn't need to be brought here and then discriminated on and not given opportunities, right? That's basic human rights. But I don't want to get into this, man. I don't even want to go there because I'm dealing with this one topic right now. Let me deal with this topic, right? I'm sorry, guys. Y'all know how I get. Let me stay on point here.
So Boosie commented on our Breakfast Club Instagram, and he also went to X, and he was basically saying how it's not fair. He said, "This is sad. It's no more freedom of speech anymore." Shaking my head. Comedians can't even make jokes about it no more. The power that has been given to that community is outrageous. Straight men and women no longer have a voice anymore. Shaking my head. If we speak, it's taken as hate. And I see no one preaching hate, honestly. Just because someone does not agree doesn't mean it's hate. It's sad how...
Damn. I need that to be understood. I need that to be understood. I don't get why that's not understood. Well, I do. I do get it. Because when you're a bully, you get to have things your way. That's correct. Just because when you say something, disagree with it, does not mean it is hate. You should be allowed to, because they're allowed to say, that's your Christian religion. We don't believe in that. Right? I could say that's your homosexual ways. I don't believe in that. If I say that's your homosexual ways, I don't believe in that, they'll say, then you're intolerant. You're homophobic. But they can say that's your Christian beliefs. I don't believe in a sky god. I see that all the time. I don't believe in a sky god. That's your sky god. I see it all the time. There's nothing, and they can't be accused of being. And you know what? Again, because I'm an accountable person, I'm a very accountable person. I don't like to just point fingers all the time. I started touching on this last night. Pause. I started touching on this topic last night. Christians, so-called Christians, Bible believers, it is up to you guys, holiness people, Christians, whoever that calls himself believing in the good book. It is up to y'all to make a fuss about this. It is up to us to make a fuss about this collectively. I can't do it alone. Collectively, right? I know there's going to be some people, as I continue to talk about this, some smart Alex. I was about to say another word, but I don't do that. So smart Alex that jump in my chat and say things or leave comments and say stupid things like, why don't you start the change? Why don't you be the change you wish to see? Why don't you start the change? Why are you calling other people? Because the change doesn't happen alone, dummies. I'm an 8-mile type guy, right? I'll 8-mile myself before I let someone else do it. So everything I know you're going to say about me, everything I know certain people are going to say about me, I'm just going to say it myself. Why don't you be the one to step out? Because I'm not stupid. Jaden Ivy stepped out. Look what happened to him. I'll step out with people, not because I'm afraid, but because I'm about real solutions. And to get real solutions, I know stepping out alone is going to do nothing at all. It'll make me feel good, sure. But stepping out by myself does nothing. I'm more of a troop rallier, right? I'm a voice. I'll be a voice to the voiceless. I'll say things others are too afraid to say. And as I get deeper into this and more independent financially, I will continue to say things that people won't say, but things that people want to say. That's what I do. That's what I'm going to do. But I like to galvanize the troops, right? And again, I say this respectfully and humbly. I'm a commander. I'm a military commander. Military commanders do not go out on their own and do anything. They rally the troops. You got to get your rallying cries up. You got to find who your troops are going to be. And then once you get your troops, you rally your troops and you lead them to victory. That's me. So don't nobody come on here talking stupid a year from now, months from now, seeing these videos and saying stupid things like, all you do is talk, but what are you doing? I have 0 troops right now. I don't have an army. That's the first thing. Get an army. How do you get an army? You convince them that what you're fighting for is worth fighting for. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm doing it organically. I'm not going to come and talk to y'all with eloquent speech. I'm not going to come lie to y'all. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to be me. And the real people that rock with me are going to rock with me. they're going to stay here. I'm going to turn some people off. They're going to unsubscribe. They're not going to watch my videos again. The real people that rock with me and know, man, he's on to something. Rob is on to something. They're going to stay. That's what I want. That's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to build an organic audience. It's going to take a while to build organic followers that are willing to hear what I'm saying and mobilize when I say, okay, let's mobilize, guys. This is the kind of demonstration we're going to do today. We're going to wear these shirts. We're going to march up to City Hall. We're going to march outside the NBA's arenas and does this. I need a crew to do that. They're going to walk past one man. Rob need a crew to do that. I need y'all to step up. Drop it in the comment section if you want to step up. If you want to join the army. You want to join my military. You see what I'm saying? Step in because I'm a military commander. I've always been great at galvanizing the troops. That's what I do. All right. Let's get back to Boosie real quick.
I see no one preaching hate, honestly. Just because someone does not agree doesn't mean it's hate. It's sad how it's so easy to get canceled for your...
Hold on. I think my brother TNT is in here. What's going on, TNT? My man, it's been a minute, my boy. What's up with you, brother? I was telling Miss Nicole, I don't ever get notifications that you're live again. I mean, ever. I got one, like I said, like 4 or 6. I don't even know if it was 4 to 6 weeks ago, but it was a little minute ago. And it was like a daytime stream you did. It was about the Iran war. I know that I caught it towards the end. I got on probably last 10, 15 minutes. I probably was working, but I got on and yeah, man, I didn't say nothing though, because I was, like I said, I think I was working. So, but I got on and support. I liked the video and I just listened in. But when I know you live, you know what I'm saying? If I'm awake or anything, I be tuning in, brother. It just don't show me no more. And I wanted to comment that day when I got a quick break, but I think my YouTube handle is different now. I'm like, they're not even gonna know who I am because it don't say the great for whatever reason. It says KMTG705, but it doesn't say the great. So I got to figure out how to fix that handle. Let's get back to Boosie. Excuse me.
It's sad how it's so easy to get canceled for your own beliefs, and you can't even make a statement like, I only like, then he says the P word. It will be taken as a shot to the community. I also think people in our community should stand up and speak when people get banned for not agreeing. Why be quiet when your acceptance is greater than ever? It's so
Boosie, I like what he said, right? Let's repeat. What was that? What was it? I want to quote him.
When your acceptance is greater than ever. It's so you should stand up and speak when people get banned for not agreeing. Why be quiet when you...
Boosie said the same thing. Now, he's not calling on Christians. He's not calling on holiness. He's not calling on Bible believers, I don't think. But he's saying we should stand with people when they stand up and speak. Boosie's doing it. Boosie almost always comes out and says something, right? I don't want to judge him, but publicly speaking, I know who he is behind closed doors. Publicly speaking, this guy's a heathen. This guy's a non-believer. This guy's wearing gasoline draws on his way to hell. Publicly speaking, right? I don't know him personally. I can only go by the music he puts out and what he seems to portray. He may be headed to hell with gasoline draws, but he's saying the exact same thing that I was saying, right? Mobilize. There's strength in numbers. People need to come out and support these guys when they come out and speak truth to power. The power right now is the LGBT community. The power right now is, again, I'm not one of these guys that like hide in a corner and just rag on the Jays, right? When I say the Jays, I don't even know if I can say the word because I see people getting canceled over this. But the people that say they're the real Israelites, y'all know who I'm talking about. Starts with a J, aka small hats, aka I'm gonna call them small frats because I don't want to say small hats because I feel like that term's gonna get caught by the algorithm at some point too, and I don't want to. I don't feel like even arguing with YouTube. But when I say the small frats, I'm talking about the small hats, aka the ones that say they're Israelites. And no, I'm not talking about the black ones. I'm talking about the ones that's from the Caucasus Mountains that are proclaimed to be Israelites in the land of Israel right now who are not real Israelites. That's what I'm talking about. The ones from the Caucasus, the small hats. So back to it. Truth to power. The ones in power right now, who have the most power right now, especially when it comes to America, is the small frats and the LGBTQ community. And the women, of course. I'm not going to talk about women right now, but the women. I got plenty of facts to support that, right? There's a lot of women that watch this and be like, what is he talking about? Women ain't got no power. Okay, well, I'll present my facts later. And one thing I want to say too, facts are not all. You can fudge numbers. Every study you look at, when you look at these studies and say, well, there was a study conducted that said da 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 da. I'm not saying studies can't be useful for reference, right? But you have to understand, when this study was done, who did they poll, right? They say black women have the highest divorce rates in America, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard it everywhere I can imagine. I've never researched it. But even if that is true, by whatever stats that they're using to say that, even that could be fudged. You could fudge stats. You could how many people was polled to know that? Well, I can't say polled because there are records out there, right? But there's a lot of people that break up in marriages that just never go get the divorce on paper, so you wouldn't know that they're divorced, right? They could be whites, they could be Asians. There are a lot of married couples who are no longer together and have not been together for a very long time, but are still married on paper. So, excuse me, guys. I'm not trying to be already. Give me 1 second. My point is, regardless if it's a stat that I agree with, that before I even seen the stat, if it's something that life has taught me or not, I'm not a guy that speaks in stats all the time. I'm aware that the vast majority of people in life rely on stats for facts, but I don't, because stats can be fudged. If you don't know that, just Google. You got Google. Google how many surveys and stats have we found out later that we thought meant something that later on meant absolutely nothing, or we found out later on they fudged the numbers, or they lied about things, or they were very skewed in the people that they sent the surveys out to, or the communities that they polled. You have to understand that. So while I agree that stats can be referenced for some things, I do not believe that they're end all be all. Sometimes it's just the eye test, and it's the honest eye test, because some people, and the eye test isn't enough, because you may just grow up in one community your entire life, and that's not reflective of the world. But when you're a combination of social media, your own reflection of what you've been, the places you've lived in America, the friends you've had. I've had all kinds of friends, the people you've dated, etc., will teach you a lot, right? And it's not all just anecdotal experiences, right? Yes, you can speak from an anecdotal experience, but it doesn't mean that what you're saying isn't factual. And I'm not saying my truth, your truth. That's bogus. That's BS. That's a fallacy. My truth, your truth just means that's my opinion. That's your opinion. There cannot be two objective truths to what color my hat is. My hat is blue. Maybe the camera might pick it up as purple, but my hat is blue. It's Cowboys blue. Dallas Cowboys blue. That's an objective fact. That's not my truth. That's not Brother TNT's truth. That's not J-Rock's truth. That's a fact. Now, if your eyes are bad, you may see it as purple, and that's cool. That's your opinion, but that's just not true. I don't believe in this stupid world we live in of, well, that's just your truth. Well, you got your truth and I got mine. Dummy, you mean you got your opinion and I got mine? Yes. But then there are these things called objective facts. Anyways, back to Boosie. Boosie is calling that we stand with these people, that we speak truth to power. Same thing I'm calling for, right? That's the only thing that makes a change. That's what women did to get their freedom. That's what slaves did to get their freedom. That's what the LGBT community did to get their freedom. They galvanized. They got together. There were voices that came out and said, this ain't right. Who's standing with me? I'm saying the same thing today. This ain't right. Who's standing with me? I don't have a big enough audience, but when I get a big enough audience, I'm sure the army will grow, and I'm sure I'll have people standing with me. And then, yes, I'll assuming I can, right? Assuming this happens at a time where I'm physically able to do it, and I'm not an old man, I'll lead us. I'll lead us to change. I got no problem doing that. I see a lot of people are too afraid to. I have no problem leading us to change, but I can't do it alone. I need an army.
When your acceptance is greater than ever. It's so many people with power who really are afraid of corporations. It's corporate leagues, corporations, leagues, etc. are afraid. Billionaires are afraid. And he says, hopefully, Jaden will be able to still provide for his family.
I actually disagree with Boosie. It's very fair. Okay, because free speech is not free. There is a cost to every word that comes out of your mouth. And if
the same exact lazy talking point, they all say free speech is not free. Yeah, free speech actually is free when you're speaking with the power. As long as your speech matches what the power says, it's free. If you speak truth to power, it's a problem. Who the guy, and was it Nat Turner? Because I haven't studied the slave stuff in a long time. Nat Turner's rebellion, when he first started standing up and preaching, because he was able to read, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all, please forgive me if it ain't Nat Turner. Y'all fact check me. Somebody's gonna fact check me when I go back and look at this video later and say he don't know nothing. I think it was Nat Turner that led the slaves out. Well, it was a slaughter, but he fought. He stood up early and fought before the Civil War. Nat Turner stood up early and fought. He was reading. He started speaking truth to power, and they started beating him. So long as he was saying things like slaves obey your masters, right? Because he's reading out the Bible. Slaves obey your master. It was okay. But the moment he started saying things like Moses led him out, Moses is going to lead you out of the wilderness, and we were going to stand up to their oppressors. And the moment he started reading that, they started whipping him, took the Bible from him, etc. Wouldn't let him read to my knowledge, if I remember right. They wouldn't let him read the Bible. I might be wrong, guys, so please don't quote me. But they stopped letting him read the Bible to the people, to the slaves. But as long as he was willing to keep the slaves in check and read the scriptures that the master wanted him to read to them about being obedient slaves, they were okay. When you speak truth to power is when the problem happens. When you speak truth to power, that's when the problem happens. unless you got an army. He picked up an army. They slaughtered a lot of people. They died in the process, but they died fighting for what they believe in. That I respect. This new Black Lives Matter stuff, this money grab and this gimmick, this slogan that sounds good on Facebook and sounds good on Instagram, and it's a great sign to put in front of your house for the white people who are suffering from white guilt. That's cute. I don't give two craps about that. What are you actually doing? And you're outside marching, uh, uh, tearing up your community. Appreciate that, J Rock. You know how I do, man. Tearing up your community. You're marching. You're marching and tearing up your community for what? And chanting Black Lives Matter the whole time. Yet while destroying black businesses. I mean, they destroyed other businesses too. I'm gonna be fair, but they also destroyed black businesses, destroyed their own neighborhood in the process. And even if you just go around destroying white businesses and businesses, you know, the small frat businesses, what are you solving? You just confirming stereotypes that we're animalistic people that can't be controlled and have anger issues. That's all you're doing. I didn't see Black Lives Matter marching to City Hall, surrounding police stations, just demonstrating out there for days on end, because that's what you got to do. You got to make it severely uncomfortable, not just one day, not just one night. You got to come out, you got to demonstrate, you got to be willing to take off work, you got to be willing to do those things. You have to be willing to do all those things if you want to see change. One person can't make the change alone. That's all I've been spitting. One person can't make the change alone. You've never seen anybody do it. Margaret Sanger, right? She didn't do it alone. She got a lot of men behind her to back her. She knew who to speak to.
Okay.
Look at these books back here. Charlemagne the God shook one. Charlemagne the God, another book, Black Privilege. I can't imagine what that's about, but I bet it's stupid as hell. And y'all hell ain't no cuss word. Get honest or die lying. Like get rich or die trying. He's not even honest. What is this book about? This man's not even honest. Get honest or die lying. He's a liar. He's a big liar. This man is not honest. He is a huge liar. He's a poser. He fakes like a Christian. Then says other weird things. And let me stop. I don't want to get myself canceled. Ben Crump, worse than a lie. Ben Crump's another huge liar. He only shows up for opportunity. Ben Crump shows up where he thinks money is going to be at. He thinks all money's going to be here, so he shows up. Get out of here. Charlemagne, you shut the heck up, respectfully. You know, I know Jay-Z would never give up his billion-dollar industry, his billions of dollars. But if Jay-Z said the same thing, I wonder if Charlemagne would have the same response. Because you know, Charlemagne, he sucks Jay-Z's thumb. Oh, my bad, my bad. Can't see. Yes, my bad, my bad. Charlemagne sucks Jay-Z's thumb. He's really a Jay-Z thumb sucker. A lot. He's probably on payroll for Rock Nation. And that's their business. But he is a Jay-Z thumb sucker. I really wonder if Jay-Z came out and said the same thing Jaden Ivy said. And we know Jay-Z would never do that. He's not going to sacrifice his millions. Charlemagne wouldn't even speak on it. He wouldn't even speak on it. He wouldn't speak on it at all.
From the consequences of your free speech. You can have the freedom to say whatever you want. But if you say what something like Jaden Ivy said, you got to think about all of the people who own that team, who play for that team, the sponsors of that team. And if those people on that team say, you know what, you don't rock with us, so we don't rock with you, so be it. Now you got to stand on what you said. That's actually what free speech is. Free speech isn't being able to say what you want to say, and then when somebody gives you the consequences of what you said, now all of a sudden you're playing the victim, like Jaden Ivy did. Jaden Ivy acts like he don't understand.
Bro, free speech is exactly that. Saying what you want to be able to say. That's free speech. Free speech is exactly that. And it's always been practiced as such until we started doing this community bullcrap. Until we started saying, well, if you say that one thing, that's hate speech, and that's one thing we won't tolerate. By the way, when I was talking about the books, I don't think my screen was up. Ben Crump, worse than a lie. Ben Crump's a liar. He's an opportunist. Charlemagne the God authors, Get Honest or Die Lying. He's going to die a liar because he's not honest. He's a liar. I don't know what this book is about. Shook one. Yeah, he shook. He's too shook to tell the truth. That's a fact. Charlemagne the God, Black Privilege. I'm not even going to touch Black Privilege right now, man, because y'all going to think I hate Black people, and I'm Black. I don't hate myself. I'm just honest. But, and again, having Black privilege, well, there's been white privilege for so very long. I don't entirely hate the term black privilege, right? I don't entirely hate it because I believe in balance. And if things were unbalanced for so long, it sometimes it take a little while to bring the balance back to the other side. I will acknowledge that. That I will acknowledge. Like I said earlier, sometimes when things are so far left, you have to go right, really far right, before the balance can be restored because you're pulling from so far away. So I get it. I don't always support it, but I get it. We're gonna let this fraud finish up. And I'll see if I got anything else I want to touch on.
Consequences of what you said. Now all of a sudden you playing the victim, like Jaden Ivy did.
And he's saying that Jaden Ivy is playing victim. That's interesting. Again, no standing together. When a woman comes out and says she's offended by something, women blindly support her. No matter how wrong she is, the women just blindly support her because they say she's a woman and I'm going to support her. I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to blindly support people, but that's what they do and they affect change that way. The same thing with the small frat, the frat community. The frat community does the same thing. By and large, I won't say blacks do the same thing, but I would say a large percentage of blacks do the same thing. You do have the blacks out there, such as myself, such as Jason Whitlock, such as Anton Daniels, etc., who don't go along to get along. We're not the go along to get along gang. Shout out to Kwame Brown because he coined that term. I mean, obviously that term's been around for a while, but he's kind of coined it in the way that I'm using it. The go along to get along gang. That is, man, it's so much I can say. I just let me leave that there. I'm gonna see if I can get through this video without pausing it every 2 seconds. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me really rewind a little bit.
We don't rock with you, so be it. Now you got to stand on what you said. That's actually what free speech is. Free speech isn't being able to say what you want to say, and then when somebody gives you the consequences of what you said, now all of a sudden you're playing the victim, like Jaden Ivy did. Jaden Ivy acts like he don't understand why he got away.
Well, Jaden was having a conversation on Kerrigan Skelly's platform yesterday, and he tried to compare this to when Anthony Edwards used a slur and was fined and said that it's hypocritical that he was let go. Let's take a listen.
Had said some derogatory thing to some male. I can't remember.
So for context, Jaden Ivy was on someone's podcast yesterday, I believe, like Lauren said, and he started kind of calling it hypocritical how he got fired the moment that he said that it's unrighteous to celebrate Pride Month without using any derogatory terms or anything like that. But Anthony Edwards, who is a superstar point shooting guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's actually really good. Jaden Ivy is not really good. I will kind of put that out there. Jaden Ivy is still very young in the league. Well, I don't think he's in the league anymore, but he's still very young in the league. But he wasn't necessarily all that good. He was okay, but he was no Anthony Edwards. And, you know, tolerance is usually higher when you're a better player, better basketball player, better football player. The tolerance level is usually a little bit higher. So I will put that out there. But Anthony Edwards said the F word about the LGBT community. He said the word. He directed it at somebody. He didn't just say it. He directed it at someone. He didn't get canceled. He just got fired. He didn't get fired. They weren't going to fire him.
Vividly what the situation was, but he called somebody a derogatory word, right? He called them the F word, but he was like portraying that person was gay, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And so I believe the NBA fined him for it, right? How is it that he said something detrimental and basically hypocritical judgment because he's not a Christian?
Yeah, it's derogatory. Right. It's like a slur almost for homosexuals that
that
if you use that word against them, they're going to be offended by it.
I don't know the situation he's referring to, but I know he's not Anthony.
So yeah, that was just kind of Jaden Ivy's kind of like, this is hypocritical that, like I said, like he said, I'm fired for saying something's unrighteous and kind of supporting my religion. I'm kind of, using my religion as a basis point, which again, in America, we have the right to practice freedom of religion. That's in the First Amendment of the Constitution. Let me see, Constitution, First Amendment. We'll take a look at it together. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And so I definitely respect this. I do want to bring the definition up of this. We can talk definition, but we can also talk about how things have historically been practiced. So we'll finish this video up and then we'll go to the definition of, we'll go to the U.S. Constitution, First Amendment.
Situation he's referring to, but I know he's not Anthony Edwards. That's number one. But it seems like Anthony Edwards was talking to one individual, as opposed to calling out a whole community and calling a whole community unrighteous.
You see what Charlamagne says? He can't even logically put this together. Dude, you just said it. He's calling out Anthony Edwards called out one individual. That individual belongs to a community, by the way. He called an LGBT guy and called him the F word, which is one of the most disrespectful things you can say to somebody in the LGBT community. And he said it to one, and you know when you say it to one, you say it to all. We all know, we've seen too many examples to say that's not true. Jaden Ivy says, like Charlamagne said, he just called the celebration of them Pride Month unrighteous. Even if he did call them unrighteous, he didn't say they were devils. He just said they're unrighteous by how they're living. That's according to his religion. He's allowed to practice that how he sees fit.
Community and calling a whole community unrighteous. That's a different ball game, man. I think so anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember what Anthony Edwards said and who he said it to.
So it was some time ago, back in 2022. Anthony Edwards, there was a video that was recorded. He was in a car. The window went down. He yelled a word out at some men that were outside of the car, and then the video was taken down, and he had to come out and apologize. But it was reported that he was fined $40,000.
I just don't like when people, get on Instagram Live or any platform, say what they want to say.
Yeah, I could have sworn this man's face used to be like 3-tone. Like, I really could have sworn this man's face used to be 3-tone. How does he have a light-skinned, smooth face now? I don't understand that. This is a guy that's so insecure in his own skin, that he's putting on male makeup and or had his skin bleached. Come on, man.
I just don't like when people, get on Instagram Live or any platform, say what they want to say, and then want to stand on the whole free speech thing. You are free to say what you want to say. You're not in jail for what you said, right? But you still have to deal with the consequences of your words. Why do y'all think free speech is free? It's not. There is a cost to every word that comes out of your mouth. And if you're not willing to pay the price, shut the hell up. Shutting the hell up is free.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Okay. Charlamagne didn't lie there about kind of like the definition of free speech. Is essentially, according to law, you're free to say what you want, but you're not devoid of consequences. My issue is that it's only practiced against the people that speak truth to power. That's my issue. Like I said, the LGBT community, and not even just them, non-believers can say, we don't want that prayer. Yo, Mark Jackson, look him up. Mark Jackson was a former NBA point guard for the New York Knicks. I want to say he played for the Indiana Pacers too with Reggie Miller. He was not a superstar, but he was a star in his own right. He played in the Michael Jordan days. Mark Jackson retired early 2000s, I believe. And then he became a head coach for some NBA teams. Last team he coached was the Golden State Warriors. He coached the Golden State Warriors. He got let go, supposedly, because essentially, I'm paraphrasing because they did not say this, so I don't want to lie, but he was being too religious. He supposedly, I don't know, some people say he required the team to pray before practice, I think, and pray before games, stuff like that. And obviously not everybody on the team is believers. I find that hard to believe, but if he did, well, then that would kind of, if he made that a requirement, then yes, it would be infringing on someone else's right to practice their religion. I do agree with that. But the bottom line, he was ousted by them. He's never had a job since. Never. You can say things. You can do things. You can do things, degenerate things like Ja Morant waving guns around, going against his NBA contract. Outside the arena, had him and his homeboy supposedly pointing what they believed to be weapons from there was in their car, and they were pointing weapons at the other team, at the opposing team's bus. That's the allegedly. They weren't able to prove it, but allegedly they had the lasers trained on them. People like that can stay in the league, but a guy who is very religious can't, and he's not allowed to practice his religion the way that he sees fit. Okay, fine. And so long as it doesn't infringe on someone else's religious beliefs, fine. I don't understand how Mark Jackson doesn't have a job or can't get a job in the NBA as a head coach because of his religious beliefs. But then they say, we got freedom of speech, but it's devoid. But there's consequences that come along with it. To my knowledge, Mark Jackson didn't ostracize any group. He just said, "Hey, I'm a Christian, and we're going to pray." Now, again, I don't have any facts to support the fact that he made anybody pray. But even if it was optional, they said that the way he spoke about his religion made some people in the locker room uncomfortable. That's come on, man. So long as I'm not pushing my religion on you, me talking about what I did in church this Sunday and how I served and how I helped out these people or the message my pastor preached. No, what's wrong with that? But y'all can come to the locker room and talk about, and I'm sure they do, because I've been in locker rooms many, many times. Y'all can come to the locker room and talk about how many hoes y'all smashed last night, the weekend plans y'all got with X amount of hoes this weekend, the strip club you want to do. And as a Christian, I'm supposed to be able to listen to that and be okay. And if I say something about it, I'm weird. I get picked on. Like, no one's protecting me as the Christian man. No one. And I'm just using an example, but nobody protects the Christian man from hearing all this filth. I used to work at a restaurant, and back when I really was being converted, I wasn't listening to rap music no more, none of that stuff. I used to have my one headphone in because I had to be able to hear what was going on. So I had one headphone and listen to my gospel music, Christian rap, whatever it is. I listen to podcasts, preachings, listen to the audio Bible, and I'd hear the people around me that sound like a bunch of degenerates talking about their drug usage and currently, what they did last night, what they're doing today when they get off of work. It didn't bother me. I come from a place like that, so it didn't bother me at all. But what I found ironic is if I would have said something about it to someone in human resources, they'd have been like, well, they're not doing anything. They're allowed to talk about, they're allowed to talk how they want to talk, right? But if I start talking about my Christian beliefs and somebody complains, they go, hey, you can't bring your religion up and push your religion on people. And I'm like, well, I'm just talking about it. Anyways, I don't want to speak in hypotheticals. Let me leave the hypotheticals alone because sometimes that can get confusing. We're gonna look at the definition real quick of the First Amendment. Sorry, not the definition. We're gonna check out the First Amendment real quick. Let's see here. Can y'all see my screen? Nope, can't see my screen yet. All right, cool. Here we go. First Amendment. First Amendment to the Constitution. Congress shall make Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. So they can't make a law getting in the way of freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Peaceably assemble. When we see those Black Lives Matter riots, that is not peaceably assembling. I wanted to look up one more thing just out of curiosity. I like to kind of get the definition of every word. Definition of religion. I'm going to get the definition of religion. Let's share that so that you guys can see that as well. We're going with that. And try to see if I can get that up for y'all. So we got the definition of religion up. Religion is a structured system of beliefs, practices, rituals, and symbols designed to facilitate a relationship with the divine, supernatural, or sacred. It often offers a framework for understanding existence, moral authority, and life after death. Examples include Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. Synonyms include faith, belief system, spirituality, and worship. Okay, I just wanted the definition of that because everything was looking as I thought it would look until we got to design and symbols designed to facilitate a relationship with the divine, supernatural, or sacred. I'm going to leave the topic I was about to say there. I'm not even going to bring that up because it doesn't match what I thought it matched. But what I will say in looking at the First Amendment, again, it is the First Amendment right that Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion. But it doesn't mean that private companies can't. I find that interesting. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. They can't make any laws that abridge the freedom of speech. I need to marinate on that. Just kind of looking at the Constitution in real time with you guys. I need to marinate on that. But what I will say is that aside, we can go about a history of how things are practiced. Like I said, I call for fairness. If we talk about equality, if the LGBT community wanted equality, they got it, and now they have supremacy. If women wanted equality, they got it. Now they have supremacy. I won't go so far as to say black people have supremacy, but in certain fields, we definitely do. I wouldn't go so far as to say though, it's still largely a white ran society. Um, and a lot of infrastructures and a lot of um many communities, right? A lot of specific communities, be it job wise or anything else wise, right? Um, okay. A lot of communities, blacks do practice have supremacy, especially in the online community. I will say that in the social media community, black people, when I say blacks, obviously I know I'm black, I'm just talking, right? Black people are able to operate with impunity by saying things like Karen, by having Drewski put on white face and having no backlash. I mean, yeah, people say things, but no cancellations, no none of that. No one's really calling them racist, none of that stuff. So, and I don't have. I thought the Drewski Erica Kirk thing was extremely funny. I laughed a lot. He was so on point. His makeup, I mean, wow, from the eyes and everything. I'm not glorifying makeup and none of that stuff on no man. What I am saying is, I'm not gonna lie and say it wasn't funny. It was extremely funny. That aside, two things can be true, can be funny, and it can still be hypocrisy. And it is. I'm not going to touch on the Drewski thing. I'm not doing a video on that. This video is not about Drewski. But I do find that I found that mighty ironic. How he's able to put on white face, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's just a joke. Oh, it's not the same thing." No, it's exactly the same thing. Because if I was white, I'm sure I'd be very offended by that, and I wouldn't be too afraid to call it the hypocrisy, because I'd be calling the entire black community that thinks it's funny hypocrites if I were white. I mean, I'm calling them that now, and I'm black. But if I were white, I wouldn't be afraid to speak out. I think a lot of white people are afraid to speak out right now because they don't want to be called racist. Whatever, man. That business. This isn't about that. I need to see what my live was called again. I gotta make sure I touched every topic before I get up off of here. Because I forgot. Seeing the drama, objective perspective, more Jaden Ivy, your truth, my truth. Are we all correct? Yep. Okay. I did touch on your truth, my truth. Like I said, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that culture. I think I had therapy on here too. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end with this. I think I'm gonna end with this. I'm sure therapy has its place and it helps a lot of people. I'm sure it helps a lot of people. Some of y'all gonna catch this. When when Adam and Eve were in the garden naked and God left them for a period of time, and Eve and Adam did what they did and realized once their eyes became open, kind of like Paul when the scales fall off the eyes. Once their eyes became open, they realized they were naked. And when God came back, he said, "Oh, you got clothes on?" And he said, "Oh, I'm hiding, whatever. I didn't want you to see me." And God says, "Who told you you was naked? You're wearing clothes because you found out you were naked. Who told you you were naked?" Now, I know most people watching this is not going to get what I'm saying in relation to therapy culture. And by the way, I'm not demonizing therapy culture. It's big business. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like going to the hospital. It's big business. The hospital is big business. The doctor, big business. Religion, big business in many cases, right? Am I saying all? No. Is every single doctor all about big business? No. Is every single hospital, every single therapist, every single church about big business? No. But the vast majority of them are. Where's your research, brother Rob? Well, what numbers and statistics you got to support that? I don't deal in that all the time. Those can be fudged. As I said before, I don't always deal in numbers and statistics. It's not my thing. That stuff can be fudged. I could find any number or statistic to tickle your fancy if I want to. It's very easy. You just go to Google what it is you want, and find stats to support it. It's super easy. That does not always tell the story. Anybody can find stats to support what they want. All depends on who conducted the study, where the study was conducted at, how many people took a part of the study, what questions were you asked during that study. Simple. You can fudge anything you want to fudge. So I'm not saying numbers don't matter, but numbers tend to lie too. Within its proper context, they do. Therapy culture. I'll do a different live on that. I have a lot to say about it, but all I can say is, who told you you were naked? You were fine until you realized you were naked. You still ate good, still slept good, still lived good. Then you realized you were naked, found some shame, put some clothes on. You were never supposed to know you was naked. And we were supposed to live in harmony. Some of y'all gonna catch that. Some of y'all. The vast majority maybe not, but some of y'all gonna catch it. And I'll explain further whenever I do the live touching on that. I appreciate everybody rocking out with me. I hope you guys that are watching and that will watch in the future are enjoying kind of this stuff as I find my footing in this live stream world, as I kind of get comfortable in what it is I'm doing, how I'm going to run my lives and transition my lives into the topic after topic. I hope you guys that are rocking with me early continue to stay rocking with me. Whoever doesn't, that's fine. I'm going to be authentic. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not doing none of that. I'm being robbed. And like I said, I will tone down some things for the sake of my audience and being respectful, but I'm being robbed. If I say it in real life, I'm going to say it here because I don't want anybody to think something of me other than what I am. And I don't want any room to ever be called a hypocrite, right? If I say the N-word, I say the N-word. Oh, I like that one. Who told you? Let's post that one. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure you got it. We talk enough, so I'm sure you picked up on what I was putting down, but it's a fact. You know, it's who told you was naked. You're crazy, J-Rock. But listen, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I said, I hope y'all continue to, well, I'll continue to gain more people that rock with me as they find out what it is I do, and the people that are willing to hear will hear. I'm not Jesus. I don't ever want to try to be, and I don't liken myself to the Most High or His Son for that matter. But what I will say is, whosoever will come. That's what Jesus said. That's what Yahweh said in the book of Revelation, I believe. One of the last verses. It wasn't the last verse, but it was one of the last verses in chapter, I think, 21. He said, whosoever will come. Whosoever will come behind me and wants to listen to what I got to say, wants to get feedback, wants to debate, or wants to join the army so we can start making real change in this world once we get an actual army. Whosoever will come. I welcome anybody so long as we're down for the same cause. If you have any challenges, or any feedback for me, feel free to drop it to me. You can hit me on email. It's the same handle, truth6735@gmail.com. Truth, TRUTH 6735@gmail.com. You can drop it in the comment section, send me an email. Otherwise, again, I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. I might be back on tomorrow, I might not, I don't know. But all in all, I will see y'all good people later.